a couple of disasters, but also a couple of modifications. Well guys, here we are 2 months down the line, 2.5 months, and everything's settling down nicely. The fish are loving it in there. The filter system's all settled down now, it's running nicely, which I will be showing you because I've got a couple of things on the filter I want to show, but I will show you that later. Right, garden wise, as you can see, I'm starting to knock that into shape now. I've got the path in down the bottom and the grass is starting to come back. I've put some seed down, it's just starting to grow, so I'm starting to get the grass back. I did knock it back quite badly with the pond, where the pond was especially. It did get a bit of hammer, but that's all coming back now. Slowly but surely. I've got 1 or 2 plants gone in around the garden. I have had a calamity with the skimmer, I'm afraid, which was totally my fault. Down the bottom here, I didn't empty the basket often enough, and the pump pumped all the water out from under the basket, and of course it had all blocked and the shelf collapsed with the weight, so I've now got to repair that. As you can see, I do have a couple of 8-inch air stones on the pond. They come on 4 times a day for about 2 hours. Especially while the weather's hot, you do need extra air in the pond when it's really warm. They do need more oxygen, the fish. I have been asked if I would do a rundown on the pond explaining my setup. I probably didn't explain it well enough during the build, so what I'll do is just run through exactly what I've got now, so that everybody knows what sort of setup I got. Now on the bottom there I do have a 4-inch bottom drain that I did reduce to 3-inch actually, because I prefer the 3-inch pipe. I think that your water moves that little bit quicker in 3-inch pipe and doesn't allow the dirt to settle so much. Now across this side, just under that pipe, I'm not quite sure whether you'll see it, but there is a second outlet. Now that will be for my winter running. I shall run from there in the winter, so I've actually got 2 ways of extracting water from the pond that goes to my filters. Now that runs across to this drain here, so I'll whip the lid off that and just show you in there. Now in here, as you should be able to see, I do have 2 gate valves. Now that is for the winter and the summer running. The top one's closed at the minute and the bottom one's open, so I'm pulling from the bottom drain. But in the winter I shall close the bottom one and open the top one, so I'm taking from nearer the top of the pond and I'm not altering the temperature of the water in the bottom of the pond. That then from there runs underground, across and under the grass. I'm sorry, there is some wind today, so I hope that's not interfering too much. That then comes up. Now I have reduced that from 3-inch to 2-inch. As it comes up, that comes up. There is a regulating valve there I've put in and goes into the shed. Okay guys, here we are in the filter house. There's the Pro filter on the right working away and the minor filter on the left. So one modification I've done in here with the type of pump I've got, It's 8,000 litres per hour dry pump. Now the basket section, this section here, when I got it, I've got to admit, was a right pain in the butt. I was forever emptying this basket. The water comes in through this hole here and then goes out through that side at the bottom to the pump, and it was forever blocking up because I keep lilies and bits and pieces in the pond, and the koi do tend to pull them to bits, plus whatever else floated through. I was having to clean this basket twice a day because the section where it came out the other side to go to the pump just kept blocking up. The rest of the basket was free, but that section just kept blocking, and of course reduced my flow big time. So I was having to clean that twice a day. So what I've actually done is taken that basket out and have fitted an extra filter. Now that's a pressure filter that you've seen before. I had it on the temporary pond. So what I've actually done is take the bio balls out of that. I didn't want them. I've taken the other small medium foam out, so it's just got the coarse foam in there. So the water actually comes in here, up into the pressure filter, through the pressure filter, and then out and up to the pump. And that is actually catching all the debris. It's like a pre-filter. It's working like a pre-filter. I just thought, well, if it'll stand pressure, it should be able to withstand vacuum, which is what it's got. Obviously the pump is sucking from that, from the pond, and it does. It's working really well. That's been running on there 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. I've still got full pressure, I've still got full water flow, and I'm not losing any flow through anything getting blocked at the moment. And like I say, that's been on there 2.5 weeks, probably nearly 3 weeks, I would imagine. Now at the back there, I hope you can see it, I do have a gate valve. I've got the gate valve on just before this pre-filter, pressure filter, and that's so that I can shut that off and do anything. I can clean the filter, or I also shut that off if I want to prime it all, because obviously you've got to fill that with water first. So when priming it, I did fill it from the basket area on the pump, just kept putting water in till it filled up, put the top back on and struck the pump up, and away we went. And that's all there was to priming it. So yeah, working really well. Well pleased with that. And then of course from there it goes from the pump up and through the UV, my Evo 30. I think that's a brilliant UV, by the way. A little bit expensive, but brilliant. And then through the UV and into tub 1. This is tub 1, which has got normal K1 in it. It goes into the bottom there, rises up through the media and out through the filter cages. I've also got the pond temperature gauge on there as well. You can probably just see the cable there running down here. That gives me the pond temperature. So that water's come straight in from the pond, so it does tell me the temperature up there. That temperature gauge gives me the water temperature of the pond. Then it goes obviously tub 2. Now I have got micro in there. I don't think the micro is all it's cracked up to be. It's okay, it's as good as K1, but it's twice the price. So if I had to do it again, I wouldn't buy the micro, I'd just buy the K1. I'd have K1 in all tubs. And in the moving bed, I do think the K1 moves better than the micro. I've got K1 in there, about 50 litres. Okay, what we will notice in there is a lack of a filter cage. Now I did have a problem because outside where my water exits the tub and drops underground, it's about a 1 metre drop, and what was happening was it was sucking loads of air down through the filter cage, and at the other end it was very noisy, bubbling and gurgling at the pond. So what I've actually done is I did put an end cap on the filter cage and try turning it upside down, but what it did, with the filter cage being so low in the tank and couldn't get any air to it, it just siphoned the tank down, so the tank was only running half full. So what I've had to do is put a 90 on it, where the filter, where it goes out through the side of the tub, put a 90 on it. I've come up with another 90 across and back down, and then the filter cage on the bottom of that side, so it can't suck air at all now, and the water level has to be this high for it to feed out through the tub, and it works really well. And I have solvent welded the filter cage into that 90 so that it can't fall out, so that is solvent welded into there, but the rest just slotted together because it won't come apart and I can still move it about. Now there is one thing I wanted to show you here. We have been putting air stones, a 6-inch air stone I've been running in the bottom there, and I did notice after a time it was slowing down, so whether it was getting blocked or what, I really don't know. So what I've actually done, one or two of you will remember this, I did this quite a while ago. I've dropped the air line onto a piece of 15mm pipe down to the bottom, but what I can actually do is I will whip this out and just show you what I've done. I've only got it so it clips on there, but this is moving the media far better than the air stone ever was. So if I take this out, now you can see actually what it is. It goes about 2/3 the way across the bottom of the tub, and the air obviously comes down and out through. I don't think you will be able to see the tiny little holes in there that I've drilled. There is how many? 2, 4, 6, 8. There's 9 holes across the bottom. You'll see them start to bubble as I put it in. And if I put it back in, the movement on the media is fantastic. It's far better than the air stone ever was. So if I put this back in, I've just got it so it clips on the side, that clips on there, and away it goes again. Excellent movement. Now running that is coming from the Air 2000, which is the pump we can't find on the internet anymore, which is this one. That is actually running an air stone on the holding tank, and it is running the moving bed. That's an Air 2000, pumps about 35 litres a minute. Now what I have bought for the pond is a Blagdon. Now this is the Blagdon Pump. That's running the 2 8-inch air stones on the pond. It cuts in 4 times a day. I've got it on a timer up there. It's on a timer. That cuts in 4 times a day for 2 hours a time. So it comes on at about 6 till 8, and then again in the morning 11 till 1, 4 till 6, and then late at night 10 till 12. That just keeps plenty of air in the pond. If it is a really hot day, I'll just put it on constant. But that's the Blagdon one. But what I have found is it is noisy. It does move a lot of air. It's 60 litres a minute, but I have found it is very noisy. I'll just switch it on so you can just hear the difference. My Air 2000's running and you can hardly hear it. And now I shall switch the Blagdon pump on. And as you can hear, it's quite a bit more noisier, well certainly a lot more noisier than the Air 2000. It is noisy, but it does move a lot of air. And then I've just got this one I bought a while back and I didn't know what to do with. I was going to use it on the pond, but I didn't. What I've actually done now is pipe it in, run it round, and I've actually got it runs the cleaning pipes. Now from the filters, the outlet comes down that 3-inch pipe, back underground, across the lawn again and under the path, and comes up here, and then back to the pond. That is the complete setup of my pond.